Soat deyarli 18:00. Assalomu alaykum hammalarni. You enter the uladingizmi? Bo'ldimi? 18:00 hammalarni you enter the ko'rib turganimizdan xursandman. Meni ismim Ilhom Aliyev, you enter the ishlayman. Startaplarga yordam berish, rivojlanish bo'yicha loyihalarni amalga oshirishga mas'ulman va bugungi seminarimiz, agar xabaringlar bo'lsa, kuzatib borayotgan bo'lsanglar, yaqinda tadqiqot o'tkazgandik 310 ta startap ishtirokida. Bu tadqiqotdan shu ma'lum bo'ldiki, ko'p startaplarning fikricha, ularning loyihalarini amalga oshira olmayotganligining asosiy sababi investitsiyalarning yetishmasligi. Ko'proq vaziyatlarda. Biz o'yladik, xo'p, shuni aniqladik, shunaqa muammo bor ekan startaplarda yoki o'sha loyihaning tashabbuskorlarida. Demak, biz qanaqadir bir tajribaga ega bo'lgan odamdan o'rganaylik. Qanaqa qilib investitsiyani jalb qilish mumkin? Chunki hozir hamma o'zi xohlagancha algoritmlarga muvofiq investitsiya jalb qilyapti. Va shu sababli biz bugun Uenterga juda ham katta tajribaga ega bo'lgan, Koreyadagi nufuzli universitetlarning qoshidagi biznes inkubatorlarini boshqarib boradigan va o'z vaqtida hammaga mashhur bo'lgan Koreyada Samsung korxonasida faoliyat yuritgan 30 yillik tajribaga ega bo'lgan janob Kim Yong-suni taklif qildik va bular bugun o'zlarini shu investitsiyani qanaqa qilib jalb qilish emas, investitsiyani qanday qilib to'g'ri jalb qilish kerakligi haqida o'z bilimlari bilan bugun bizlar bilan o'rtoqlashadilar. O'ylaymanki, foydali bo'ladi. Seminar so'ngidan keyin Teamsda, shunday yonimizda restoran bor, chiqib coffee break qilamiz va shu coffee break davomida bular bilan o'zingizlarni qiziqtirgan savollar bo'yicha tet-a-tet o'zlari bilan gaplashishingiz mumkin bo'ladi. Navbatni Mr. Kimga beraman. Rahmat.
Thank you. Hello, good evening. Hi. Oh, I'm not sure whether it's good evening. It's too bright outside to be good evening. Anyway, welcome to Uenter and welcome to this seminar. I'm Young-soo Kim. I came all the way from Korea for today's session. I mean, I've been here for about 10 days and I had other things to do, but obviously I think tonight's session is the most important agenda for my trip, in that I meet a very important and valuable audiences like you. And then secondly, the topic that we discussed today is so exciting. It's not an easy one, but very exciting and important. Okay, so I always try not to just deliver the knowledge and information. Okay, I wanted to deliver my experience and not the theory, but the experience that I have done before. So could you? So before start my topic today, probably you don't know who I am, so briefly introduction of myself. As you can see, my career background is very simple because I just worked for one company all my life, which is Samsung. I worked for Samsung for 30 years. And then most of the work that I did was about the corporate venture, M&A, new business development. And because of that background, when I moved to Suncheonrang University, I served as the director of a business incubator in the university. And now I'm working as a consultant for Koika ODA business in Uzbekistan. And I will explain what the Koika project is. So the reason what I'm doing here is a part of Koika project, and it's been for already 4 years. And the Koika, which stands for Koika International Cooperation Agency, invested about $5.5 US $1 million. And the purpose is to create startup ecosystem, okay? And we have done that, and we are almost to the end of this project. And I think most of you are aware that President of Korea was here 2 months ago, okay? And then he was here right at you enter. And he delivered a message. I mean, I've been following what President says. I mean, he makes a lot of overseas trips, but it was the first time he mentioned about startups and startup for young people. And he said that in Uzbekistan and at you enter, okay? So we are committed, Korea is committed to support building startup ecosystem in Uzbekistan through bilateral collaboration between Uzbekistan and Korea. So the topics that I'm going to cover regarding how to secure funding for startup, 4 parts. A little bit about the funding landscape, which probably most of you already know, and what are the types of startup funding is available, okay, for you. And very important tools to get the funding is the business plan. We already talked about that before. And writing a compelling business plan. I mean, this topic alone takes hours if we talk in detail, discuss in detail. But I will just give you a concept today. And then lastly, the process for investing in startups. So why did we choose this topic for YouEnter today is based on the survey. YouEnter and the company called Ergo Analytics, correct? Yeah. They jointly conduct a survey this year. And then Ilhom and Oleg contact me, when was it? A couple of weeks ago. And then they asked me whether we can cover this kind of topic. And the reason is that, you know, the biggest challenge for the startups who participated, there are 310 startups participated, and attracting investment considered the biggest challenge. But you know, it's very global. Wherever you go and do the same survey, always the money comes the biggest challenge. But anyway, 310 companies participated, and almost 87% are early stage. Early stage means, you know, pre-seed, okay? Pre-seed, just idea or business plan or MVP level. And startup mostly under 3 years. And 51% already experienced the failure in the past. And they think that the lack of investment was the major reason that they failed. And this was important to me for today's seminar, because what are the funding sources? And 90%, I mean, not 90%, almost 80% is about the bootstrapping and angel investors, okay? Not venture capital. And this was very interesting. Only 1% from crowdfunding. So understanding the funding landscape, obviously raising capital is the most crucial process running the startup, especially for early stage, because if you don't get the right funding on right time, you fail, right? And you have to look at in these 3 areas: understanding this landscape. First, I mean, people think they do, but they are not doing enough. The market research, okay? All the startup has to fully understand the startup ecosystem. But it's difficult. Even in Korea, you know, people like us, the director of business incubator, there are 255 incubators, and the government sponsors a seminar. And seminar is not like this short term, 2 nights and 3 days. Every 6 months we gather and we discuss the same topic of how to improve startup ecosystem. Okay, so we've been doing for so many years. So it's never enough. Okay, the startup ecosystem, what's going on with the industry, and I ask you about the competitor landscape, and then explore what are the type of funding most suitable for you, okay? And the networking, okay? So this is the bottom line answer, the key strategies. Number one, you have to develop a compelling business plan, okay? I interview many startups at our business incubator, okay? The first thing I ask them is the business plan, okay? If you take a look at their business plan, you know, I come to a conclusion about 70–80%, okay? Number two, create a compelling pitch. Common sense, building a strong team, network, build relationship, demonstrate market demand. But if you don't have compelling business plan, no matter how well you pitch, no matter how strong team you have, and all those kind of networking, it's useless. But if you have compelling business plan, even though you are a little bit poor in pitch, you have little weak networking, weak strong team, but the investor will come to you and they will try to talk to you, okay? So I will talk about the business plan later. So I think you have seen this kind of numbers many times. So after 5 years, 50% of startup fails, okay? And after 10 years, 90% disappear. That's Korea case, and that's almost close to global. Okay. And why do they fail? Number one reason is, I mean, the survey that we did, it was they failed to attract investors. But why? Why they failed to attract investment? Eventually, the answer is this: because there is a mismatch between the product and the market. You just do not have the right product for the market demand. Then you don't sell it, right? If you don't sell it, you don't get enough revenue. If you don't get enough revenue, and then you get cash flow problem, right? I mean, that's very ordinary sequence. So poor product market fit and wrong marketing strategy are the majority reason for the failure. But you know, if you compare the global failure rate and the Silicon Valley is lower. Why? They check very carefully those startups. After that, if they are sure that the startup will fail, then they will invest. Okay. I don't think your answer is incorrect. Okay, but more broadly, okay, it's the matter of ecosystem. Simply, Silicon Valley has the best startup ecosystem in the world compared to any other places in the world. Okay. By the way, I think there are about 15 people here. How many people are startups here? And the rest, anybody from government? No? Okay. Any university? Okay. So, the startup ecosystem is a whole different area, and there's so much things to talk about, and I'm not going to do that. But at least I want to point out that I think most of people understand that, these are the three elements, very key essential element to create the ecosystem: policy, finance, culture, support, people, and the market. And the finance is one of them. And I like to show the situation in Uzbekistan, and this is the global startup ecosystem ranking. Okay, this is very recent, last year. So let's look at top 4 countries: United States, UK, Israel, Canada. Their ranking has not changed for last 4 years. Okay, Korea is number 20. I mean, there has been some up and downs, but it's not much change. Okay, it's pretty much constant. So I tried to look at Uzbekistan, and this is top 100, and I was shocked because I couldn't find Uzbekistan. Okay, Uzbekistan was unfortunately out of 100. It was 111th. I couldn't believe it. So as a person currently working to build a startup ecosystem in Uzbekistan, I feel so much responsibility. I mean, I have to work harder or do something more, okay, and do it faster. So it was 111, and this was my assessment of target, the objective. I think Uzbekistan should enter top 50 in next 10 years. I mean, Uzbekistan like soccer, okay? Uzbekistan's FIFA ranking is 61. I think at least, that's kind of level of ranking that you should position for startup ecosystem. And I think this is realistic goal, okay? So if the opportunity is given to me for 5 more years, I think not me, but we can enter somewhere between top 70 to 80, and then after 10 years, 50, okay? And what I'm trying to do here is very simple. I mean, we have done that in Korea for about 25 years, because that's the year of operation for our incubator, okay? And we have gone through all the trial and errors, mistakes, and we've been very rigorously benchmarked the country like United States, Israel, and Japan. So our system is proven. And if we can just copy that to Uzbekistan and localize it, okay, and do some adaptation based on the situation here, maybe you can do it much, much faster. Yeah, please come in. Yeah. And this looks very complicated, but this is kind of menu of service that our incubator provides to the startups on campus, okay? And I can spend 2 hours explaining all the details of what kind of service we are providing, but I just want to show you visually that we are covering almost all elements, from training technology, mentoring, and then I highlighted red. We also provide funding service. Okay, university doesn't have money, but we support startups, outside angel fund, and we have internal angel fund, crowdfunding. We host regular IR events, and also we connect the accelerators or venture capital from outside. So this is the 25-year work result in startup business incubation. Okay, I think most of you already seen this funding cycle, but because this is very important, and probably some of you do not have the details of it, I will just quickly go over what it means. So I think most of the startups and those 310 startups who participate the survey are in this period, the valley of death. And this valley of death, that's where 50% of startups just disappear. So this is revenue and this is time. So, when we talk about the bootstrapping, angels, family, friends, pre-seed capital, this is the period. And once you reach break even, and then you get track record for creating revenue, then it becomes a little bit easier, okay? Then you are exposed to the group like the venture capitalist. This is first stage, second, third, and the mezzanine. Mezzanine means it's the combination of equity and convertible debt. So you can borrow money, and then later, instead of paying back, you give away your share. Okay, that's mezzanine. And so in this stage, there's early stage, later stage, and later stage is more a maturing period. Okay, and then finally, the final goal of going public. Okay. So in connection with the previous graph, this is the pre-seed and seed, and this is the period where you just have the concept and the prototype. But moving to Series A, you have a product which you can sell, and you start generating the revenue. And moving to Series B, you have full production, and also you are ready to expand your market. And Series C, and not only the existing product, but you have new product with a larger scale expansion, and you can even expand your market overseas. And then I wrote down here some numbers, okay? And this number is the investment size. So for pre-seed and seed, 10K to 1 million, 1 million to 10 million. But again, as it says here, this is just a rough average. So let's say if it's 1.1 million, it's not pre-seed or seed. No, that's not correct. It could be pre-seed or seed, and there is no clear boundary. There is some overlap, right? But I want you to understand the size and the stages of the investment. Okay, now getting to the main topic. These are the 6 sources of funding you can get, okay? Bootstrapping. By the way, I will go over one by one what this is and how you do it. Bootstrapping, government grant, angel investors, venture capital, crowdfunding, and business loan, okay? I think this covers the most. The only one thing it's missing here is You heard of accelerator, right? Accelerator also provide funding. They provide the funding and then they take away what? Yeah, sure, equity, okay? So that's one of the way to secure the fund, but it's not covered here. Let's take a look at the bootstrapping. So what is bootstrapping? Bootstrapping is what you are doing, okay? I just put my money or family. You go to your parents, you go to your brother, sister, your friend, borrow money. And the third form is revenue-based finance. What is revenue-based financing is people provide capital, okay, in exchange for the future company's revenue, okay? So they put the money first and then they get it back when the company generates the revenue. The strategy for bootstrapping, start small. Steve Jobs, where did they start his business? Yeah, at the garage. Yeah, garage. It doesn't cost money, right? So either garage or basement. Start small. Don't waste your time. You know, the money at this stage is like your blood. So you have to spare every penny, dollar. Start small. And prioritize efficiency, okay? You maximize your resources and minimize the overhead. You know, I have seen some startup people in Korea. He got the investment, some good size of money. The first thing they do is they go out and rent a really nice looking office, and he bought a luxurious car as company car. You know, that's the shortcut to go bankrupt. Nobody should ever do that, okay? Leverage partnership. You know, I think I cannot ask every single of you, but when I ask the startup people in my incubator, a lot of people start by it themselves. It's one-man operation, okay? And by doing that, the probability of success is much lower than doing with your partner, okay? Even Steve Jobs start with 3 members, so 3 founding members. Bill Gates, 3 people. So I think 3 members, 3 core members are very important. But you know why, you know, the startup people, they try to keep themselves as the sole ownership of the startup? They're hungry? I don't know what hungry means, but, you know, they are afraid of somebody taking away their equity. They just want to have full 100% ownership because they think it's their technology. So why they have to share the value of the company, right? So too much greed, I think. Okay, greedy, and reinvest profit. So you know, even though it is difficult in the beginning, at some point the company will start generating profit. But don't try to use that profit to somewhere else. You know, you should reinvest for really necessary area to fuel growth. Number 2 is the government funding. Is there anybody who got government funding before in Uzbekistan? Nobody? What do you mean? You are not qualified? Right, okay. You mean the age? You know how many old, what's the age in Korea? The youth in Korea is 39. But But I think that makes sense because the average age of Uzbekistan is 29. Okay. You know how old is in Korea? The age, average age? 30? 35? It's 43. So it's 14 years difference. That's why in Korea, the youth is defined as under 39 and here under 30, right? So if you are 39 in Korea, you are qualified. But anyway, in Korea or other countries, government funding, grant really helps. It's not a hell of a big money, okay? But there are a lot of opportunities and there are a lot of advantages. So I don't know what kind of programs, government programs available in Uzbekistan, but that's one of the area as a ecosystem for government to promote, okay? So to get government grant, yes. I have to watch the time.
So, my name is Murad, and with my team, we participate in a accelerator called WeRise FinTech Accelerator, and in that, let's say, competition, we secured third place, and we got $5,000, let's say, investment or grant. So that's what I was going to tell when you ask it, but you kind of couldn't see me.
Oh, I see.
Raise your hand.
I see. But, the government funding or grant that I'm talking about usually doesn't provide it under that kind of scheme, no contest. They just review your business plan, and then if you are qualified, and then they provide. So eligibility criteria, the qualification, business structure, meaning, yes, if it is under certain number of employees, you are qualified. If you have 1,000 employees, no, okay? In Korea, mostly any company under 3 years considered a startup and they are qualified. Industry focus, depending on the program, the government program, they specify some areas of technology. Sometimes healthcare, artificial intelligence, mobility, big data, and then it has to be innovative and has good economic impact. And you have to demonstrate that your technology and your product is eligible for this qualification. And then financial leaders, they review that your startup is qualified to have difficulty and limitation access to alternative funding sources. So the application, again, you have to have a thorough research because there are so many and there are all different. So you have to find a most suitable, the government funding program for your business. You prepare the proposal and you submit the application. And I'd like to introduce what we do in terms of the government support in funding, okay? If I was asked to make any recommendation in Uzbekistan, I would say number one is to designate a government organization or agency. We have it in Korea called Ministry of SMEs and Startups. All they do every day, every year is supporting only startups, okay? So they play a role as a control center, okay? Control center for all the startup-related policies and support. And this year alone, they have the budget of 2.6 billion US dollars. Okay, and in short, it's MSS, and then that kind of the mission and the projects are all carried out by their sub organizations. Depending on their missions, it's been carried out. And then I will just introduce some very typical funding sources. By the way, besides Ministry of SMEs and Startups, there's another one called Ministry of Science and ICT. As the name applies, it supports research and development. And from year 2020 to 25, they have $41 billion under the project name of Digital New Deal 2.0. So I understand in Uzbekistan, there's a government organization called Ministry of Higher Education, Science, and Innovation, right? In Korea, it's all separate, okay? There's a Ministry of Education, there's a Ministry of Science and ICT, and then we have Ministry of SMEs and Startup. And Korea Institute of Startup and Entrepreneurship Development, this organization is a top, very key government agency that helps startup in Korea because they do so many things. I cannot really pinpoint out, but they function as a business incubator foundation, and we have Venture Investment Corporation, KVIC. They are responsible for capital source for the venture, and they manage funds. And Korea SMEs and startup agencies, they are not providing the direct funding, but they provide the loans, guarantees, plus consulting. And Creative Economy Innovation Center, we have 17 this kind of centers around the nation by region, by province. And they also provide funding. And the local one, Seoul National Agency, they also provide funding. And we have Korea Technology Finance Corporation. What they do is they give you money, they lend you money, they lend money to startups, okay? And startups can borrow money by taking their technology as collateral. So if you have technology, they give you the money, okay? So those startups with technology have pretty much good access to this kind of institutions. And Korea Credit Guarantee, they do not engage in providing funding, but instead credit guarantee service. And some major startup programs, Startup Korea Fund. Last year, Korean government announced the title, Startup Korea, okay? And then this fund is to support that program. And this is important tips. Ilham, I'm not sure whether you've been here, tips. I think so. Yeah, you were there. Yeah, Tech Incubator Program for Startups. They provide all kinds of support, including funding, mentoring, networking, and it's located in Seoul, the center of Seoul. K-Startup Center Project, this is for global entrepreneurs. K-Startup Grand Challenge, this is acceleration program. This is 3 months, okay, fixed. Seoul Vision 2030 Fund, this is by the city of Seoul, $5 billion. Super Gap Startup, 1,000 plus project. And this project is for new industry, new technology. For this year's theme is on-device AI challenge. That's the topic, okay? Scale up mid-size fund, startup initial fund. So this is any startup in mid-size up to scale up, and this is for entry level, early level. So, you know, the title sounds similar, but there's all different focus of objectives. Yes.
Then our pitch deck from here breaks down to the organization. Our pitch deck breaks down. We have that, but
Uh-huh.
Can we send our projects to them and
Not every project.
no?
A project like this, K Startup Center project, this is for global entrepreneurs.
Uh-huh.
If it's open to overseas, yes. Sure.
All right. Yeah, we can try, right?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, that you have to constantly search every day, every day. There's so many, okay? And they are all different. So you have to find most suitable funding program for your business, okay? And you can apply for multiple program, okay? And if that's all add up, you know, that's a good size of money for a while. Yeah. Okay, angel investors, I think I have to. So angel investors, it's just a rich people, okay? Rich people who only has money and don't know how to spend money. So they invest, okay? And there are professional investors, but a lot of business professionals like lawyers, doctors, accountants, and C-level company executives, and business owners, entrepreneurs. So, you know, they not only provide the funding, but because they also have experience and know-how, they provide mentoring, okay? And there's some pros and cons of angel investors. Angel investors have no obligation. So once you get the money, you have no liability, even though your business go bankrupt. You don't have to pay back, you know, no liability to your investor. And then investor themselves is an entrepreneur. So as I said in the previous slide, they provide advice, mentoring, networking, and less administrative work. Not much paperwork compared to things like venture capital arrangement, okay? Venture capital arrangement takes long time, so many paperwork, interviews, and more cash down the line. So this is not a one-time deal investment. If they invest once, and then it's a more long-term, and most likely there will be another injection of cash in the future if your business is still alive. Disadvantages, less control. I mean, that's obvious, right? Because you have to give up your equity and hitting the pocketbook, potential for novice investors. You know, that means not every investors are smart and have experience. There are some inexperienced investors who give you a wrong advice, right? So, so you have to be cautious about, you know, whatever they make recommendation. And what is the difference? The stage of investment, obviously angel investors is a concept stage, and venture capital in Korea, if you don't have revenue, don't ever think about the venture capital. They do not even, you know, talk with you. Source of fund, angel investor, it's their own money, but venture capital is usually run by managers from somebody else's. Investment size, the angel, 10,000, 10 of thousands to few million, and venture capital is million to billion. Involvement level, angel investors is mostly hands-off. They do not get into daily detail operation, okay? But venture capitalists, I mean, I know them. You know, I have experience buying the startups in Silicon Valley, and we sold it, and we dealt with many venture capitalists, and the venture capitalist guys, you know, they do not leave you alone. You know, they just constantly push you, ask all kinds of questions, and you have to cope with that. So, you know, that's the difference in environment level. And how do you find the angel investors? Networking. I mean, you have to very diligently attend the conference, seminars, and all kinds of gatherings, becoming investors, and there are online platforms, you know. I don't know about this country, but there's a directory for local angel investors and crowd funding platforms and referrals. If you have some key investors, advisors around you, they can make introduction to other people. And the venture capital is a form of private equity financing by a venture capitalist firm. Okay, you know, venture capitalist main objective is very simple, right? They want to create financial gain at the end. Okay, but that's not all. I mean, there are some rules by each venture capitalist. You know, they want to do it strategically. So it's not just the investment, but it is strategic investment, which aligns with some business interest. You know, for some reason, my presentation, you notice that there is some text gobble. You know, you have to excuse that. And synergistic partnerships. You know, the venture capitalists help startups in terms of their expertise, the channels, marketing, all those kind of things. And they pursue diversification of the investment portfolio. And advantages and disadvantages. Advantages, you can get large size of funding and you get the expertise. I mean, they are the professional guys. They can provide all kinds of advice to increase the value of your company, and they have great networking, and the credibility is very important. So if any startup gets the funding, investment from the venture capitalist, okay, if the venture capitalist happens to be a prestigious one or famous one, and that really increase your company's reputation. That implies if you are invested by that kind of venture capitalist, you are certified startup. Disadvantages, obviously, you have to give up lots of the equity, so loss of control, pressure for growth. I told you, venture capital, they really drive you hard. But I'm not sure whether this is a disadvantage because, you know, it could be an advantage for startup, for them to grow even faster, right? Venture capitalists really drive hard. And your ownership, your equity ownership dilute, loss of control, it's the same thing, and exit focus. I mean, venture capitalist objective is to exit and finally make return on their investment. So nobody can really blame on that kind of practice because that's their business, okay? But you have to cope with that. And then even though there are some advantages and disadvantages, I mean, that's the reality, and the startup has to keep the balance among this kind of points. I like to skip this. Okay, crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is you get the funding from crowd, a large group of people, individual. So the funding comes from individual. It's not a big money, but you know, by getting funded from many individuals, the summation can be big, and then it can be done online and by a crowdfunding platform. Okay, and I think most of you already know that there are 4 types of crowdfunding. Reward basis, you get rewarded when you make investment. Reward in terms of the product from the startups or some kind of perk or experience. But I would say for startups, the equity-based and the debt-based crowdfunding is more a, a popular way to use it, because equity-based is just like, you give up your equity and get the investment. The debt-based is like borrowing money from the bank. So at the end, you pay back the loan with the interest. And then the last one is donation-based crowdfunding. I mean, people invest with no expectation of any tangible reward. It's a charity. Some parents want some reward. So I searched the situation in Uzbekistan, and I found out that, these are the kind of the source of crowdfunding. So CrowdRise and Indiegogo, it's not Uzbekistan, it's global, but anybody can use it, okay? And the Uzbekistan crowdfunding is crowd.uz and fund.uz. So I don't know the details of how it works, but crowdfunding, the infrastructure is there in Uzbekistan, so it's open for you startups. But again, for among those 310 startups we surveyed, only 1% got the funding from crowdfunding. And lastly, small business loans. And small business loan is small money, but it is very also helpful for startups in the early stage. And this small business loan is used for the operations, purchase equipment, and some other specific purposes. And most of the small business loans is backed by the government. So what that means is you have more accessibility and affordability for getting this loan, small business loan. And then there are all different type of loans. Term loans, line of credit, specialized loans for equipment, real estate, and working capital kind of things. So you have to find out which type of small business loan is most suitable for your needs and your business. Repayment terms is also advantageous to the startups in terms of flexibility. So startups can have more time to create revenue and profit, right? Okay, so that's about the type of funding sources. And then how many of you has written business plan or have it now? I assume most of you have one. Yeah, I heard you have one. That's all? Nobody has business plan? No experience? I mean, that's possible because, a lot of times I surprised because when I interview the startup CEOs, and then I ask them, tell me about your business and your technology or your product. And this guy talked for 1 hour, 2 hours. So, that's not the business plan. When I say business plan, I'm talking about a written document. Okay? Don't tell me your story. If you ask the same question the next day, he tells the different story. It changes every day. That's not a business plan. Okay? So if you have a written document, then you have business plan. And what is business plan for? Again, to attract the investors. If you go to the bank to borrow money, the first thing they ask is the business plan. And attract investors, you have to present your business plan in front of potential investors. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And for internal purposes, it guides for the growth and the development. You should have a business plan for your internal operation. Okay. And there are 3 types of business plans: summary plan, comprehensive plan, operational plan. And this is in terms of the size, okay? Summary is less than pages, comprehensive 10 to 40 pages, operational plan is 40 pages. Summary pages, 10%. I used to know one angel investor, he's American. He lives in Boston. I used to live in Boston too. And this guy is in 40s, okay? And his asset is $1 billion, US billion. Very rich, right? How he got $1 billion? From, he used to be a startup. He had a company, and some big company bought his company for $1 billion. So one day, after he sold his business, he ended up having $1 billion in his pocket, but jobless, nothing to do. So he decided to be an angel investor. So he contacted me in Korea, and he specifically asked me, Young-soo, I'm looking for a startup, early stage startup, but he specifically said the area. I want healthcare startup. So I said, okay, and what do you need? He said, I need a business plan, okay? And he said, no more than 3 pages. Because he's getting 30, 40 business plan every day. He cannot just read everything. No more than 3 pages, but 2 pages is better, and 1 page is the best. Okay? So that's for the summary plan purposes, and comprehensive plan is IR. Okay, if you have an IR meeting and you have to present it in front of many potential investors, you have to present it, but not up to 40 pages is too many. Okay, usually what we do here in our incubator, when we evaluate the startups, we give them 7 minutes. Okay, 7 minutes. And I'm talking about the structure of the business plan. Mostly 10 pages to not more than 15 pages, okay? That's, I think, the appropriate amount of business plan for this kind of purpose. And then operation plan is for your internal, okay? It can be as detailed as possible, over 40%, whatever. This is for ongoing concerns, and then part of an annual process means that you write a operational plan or business plan for 2024, and at the end of the year you evaluate your performance, and then you have to revise it for the following year's operational plan. This is very important. I mean, if you look it up, the internet or whatever, how to write business plan book, they suggest the structure, table of content. And this is my table of contents. And this is the point that I look at if somebody presents a business plan. And this is very essential, okay? So there are 11 points. Executive summary is the summary. You can forget about it, because this is something you write at the last, okay? And if you don't have an executive summary, it's okay. It's okay. But you start with a problem, solution, market analysis, the problem statement. You have to have a clear problem statement. Let's say you develop a battery for a smartphone, okay? And you have to state the problem. What is the problem with your smartphone battery? Yeah, I mean, most people has to charge it at least once a day, which I do. I mean, that's the problem. That's inconvenient. But I developed a battery which lasts for 1 week. So instead of charging it every day, my battery, you can charge it just once every week. That's very clear. That's your value proposition, right? So if I have that kind of product, do you think people will buy it or not? I mean, there's no competition, right? I mean, all the smartphone vendors, the manufacturers will come to you back to buy, right? Because 1 day and 7 day, it's huge difference. And then market analysis. You have to define the market, segmentation, what is your target market share, what is your position of your products and services, full analysis of your market, okay? And number 5 is the management team. This is very important. Describe key players. I said the idea is 3 people, right? So CEO and who? Who else? CMO. Yeah, CTO is more important than CEO. And you said you are CTO and CEO. Yeah, a lot of companies, CTO guy do the CEO job. And then it's better to have somebody who can manage it, who knows the number, who can get the funding. So CFO, okay? So if I plan to organize a startups, I would say CEO, CTO, CFO, or CMO, okay? Depending on your business and the product. So, I asked venture capitalists in Silicon Valley, when you guys go out and try to find your target for your investment, what is the most important point that you are looking at? And their answer was the management team. Because these guys, they're a management team, CEO, CTO, CFO. They interview them for days, okay? And if they talk to them, listen to their vision, listen to their strategy, they can evaluate whether this company is worth to invest, okay? I will talk about this later again. And you have to state what kind of technology or solution you have. So it's better to have some kind of IPR, intellectual property right, because that's your right, which is already protected, right, by having patent, okay? And business model. Business model is totally different from business plans. A lot of people get confused about business plan and business model. But business model is sometimes, people like me, is most important aspect in the business plan, because regardless of what kind of technology you have, if you have really fascinating business model, you can be very competitive and be a winner. So, the business model between Google and Microsoft is totally different, okay? But I cannot really say which one is better, but it depends on the businesses that they are pursuing. So developing a right business model is very important. And then marketing and sales, you have to show numbers and how you are going to find your customers, how to sell, how much you are going to spend on advertising, promotion, budget. And then the competition, a lot of people miss this portion in their business plan. They don't talk about the competition and no competitive analysis. Why? Because they have no information. They only know themselves. They don't know about their competitor, what kind of strengths they have, and what kind of strategy you have to follow to overcome and beat your competitors. But people do not have analysis and any strategy, and that is no good. So you have to have story on competitions. And finally, the financials, okay? The financial means cash flow, income statement, revenue projections, balance sheet. And a lot of times, maybe most time, as I told you before, I talked with him a little bit. People just put down some numbers, the numbers which look good, okay? That is no good. If you put down some numbers, I mean, there has to be a clear evidence or clear assumptions why you project that number for this year and why it's that number for next year, kind of thing. And milestones, you have to, there are a set of major activities that you have to carry out to operate your startup, right? So typically, the development schedule of your product and your production schedule, your marketing schedule, your financing schedule, kind of thing, you have to show them. And the period is important. I strongly recommend it's a 5-year plan, okay? Some places say 3 years, but for startups, 3 years is too short, because in average, startup reach break-even point on 3rd year, okay? So you have to show the graph that after 3rd year, that the point when they start creating profitability. So that's why I recommend 5-year projection for your business plan. It's already 1 hour passed. And the pitch deck development, I already identified the key elements and design visually engaging slides. For me, you know, this is the format a very clean layouts, no colors, okay? Concise text. But, you know, it's your preference. Practice refined delivery, you know, 50 times, 100 times, there's no limitation. Tips for winning business plan, it has, the message has to be very clear and concise. And all the numbers has to be based on a thorough research, not just the number from your head, okay? And for financials, you know, when I do my business plan, I come up with 3 scenarios. The best scenario, the normal scenario, and the worst case scenario, okay? But no matter what, you should have realistic financials, okay? Realistic. And try to highlight the traction. If you have any accomplishment, any major performance, you have to highlight it, okay? The process for investing in startups, I mean, you know, this is not a standard or routine process, but this is kind of common process when people go through the process for investing in startups. So first, searching for the target. And let's say if you have potentially 10 targets, and then you do the initial screening. Most of the time, you look at the business plan, and then you narrow down to 2 or 3 the candidates, and then you do the valuation. You know, valuation, there are a number of ways to value the startups. And then due diligence. Due diligence, you set up the team, you go to that startup, and practically, you know, you make the startup upside down and just review thoroughly the internal operation in terms of the technology, the marketing, financials, human resources, to examine the value of the corporation. And then they develop what is called term sheet. Term sheet is a summary of the terms and conditions before formal contract. So in the term sheet, it's just a few pages, 2 pages or 3 pages, which includes the target for the sales, okay? And then obviously it includes the price and the payment method, kind of very essential terms and conditions. And then contract negotiations, and then you sign the contract, okay? That's it. That's the, we call it closing. If you sign the contract, and then if you sign the contract, then they send the money to your bank account. So if money comes to your bank account, we call it closing point, okay? And then you have post investor monitoring, and then the venture capitalists, they exit, okay? And that's their final process for realizing their investment return. So building a strong founding team is important. So complementary skills, so no overlap, diverse set of skills, shared vision, demonstrated execution, the chemistry and trust. Networking is important. I don't think it is never enough to emphasize it. You know, for startups, there are oftentimes you need some legal support, because if you register your company, if you hire a company, if you get the investment, you have to enter some kind of contract, right? And unless you are a legal expert, you need some professional support, right? So the problem is that it requires money to hire a lawyer. So the places like our business incubator, we have the network with local accountant, lawyers, some lawyers specialized in IPR. So we connect them with very inexpensive arrangement. Okay. Due diligence is some very important process that all the startup who is looking for has to go through. And you have to understand the process, and you have to organize a team. This is not by 1 or 2 person, okay? You have to assemble the team, the legal person, accounting, operational, technical, financial, and you prepare the documentation. And the most, I think, important is don't try to hide anything, okay? You have to be very honest, and you have to give the impression, your potential investor, that everything is very transparent. So they feel the honesty attitude from your team conducting this due diligence process. And post-funding growth and scale, I mean, you know, you keep investing in human resources, you have to refine your operations, new products, expand new markets, and invest in marketing. So the conclusion is, you know, there are multiple options you have, right? A wide range of funding options. But which one is best, it's difficult to determine, but it depends on the stages of your business, what kind of industry, and each startup has specific needs of the business. So you need very careful, and you have to pursue a diverse funding strategy. And most important is everything has to be based on a compelling business plan. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation today. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm 15 minutes over. And do I have time for Q&A or? Oh, we have a coffee break after this. Okay. So, yeah, if you have any questions, I would like to entertain you during the coffee break. Thank you very much. Oh, yes, yes.